what's up guys? This is Church of Caboose, and for today's Destiny 2 video, it is the third part of the three-part series for tips and tricks for Trials of Osiris for March 13th, 2020 until indefinitely. And of course, I will make sure I give updates to videos, do new videos, that sort of thing as it makes sense as Trials comes out. I want to kick this thing off with a couple of questions for you guys. One, I was thinking of streaming regularly, either like a Friday or a Saturday night on Trials. And so I would love to know down below what you guys think would be the better option for a consistent, I guess, tune-in time on either Mixer or Twitch. And if you follow my Twitter, I'll try to announce which one it is. And then the question number two would be, I am finding for making Crucible videos, it is significantly easier to make these videos when I use the capture function on my Xbox and tweet it on my Twitter. So that way I can then use a little app or website and download it straight from there instead of spending hours making clips from streams. And so maybe you guys have some input of being like, hey, like, we don't really care too much about your streaming. We would love to see more of a weekly or maybe every other week of like highlights from Trials or something like that. So I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are in regards to PvP. And as always, if you enjoy the video, make sure you like it, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about the video. And at the end, by the way, I have some bonus little clips from PvP with dramatic music. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Alright, so what is this third video about? It is about stuff I have learned since my Destiny 1 Trials of Osiris experience to now. I am obviously not some godly PvP player. However, I have learned some tips and tricks along the way, some lingo that's probably nifty to use, as well as a couple of I'm not so sure if there's so much strategies because they're perhaps well known, but things you can do that are basically strategies to help maybe get some more wins in Trials just a little bit easier. So the main gist of this whole video is to teach you guys what I have learned to help myself be more successful in competitive mode, especially elimination, and give you guys some lingo things. So first things first, tip number one. Don't die. I know that sounds really, really stupid, and I'm sure one of these background gameplays is going to show it. Usually the team that has the first death loses, especially if it's really quick, because you then have a quick 3v2 situation, and if the other team is worth their salt, they will pull out one of the strategies, which is to push when your numbers are up. So one of the ways you can avoid dying is make sure you know the maps. If you know the maps, you kind of know where sniper lanes tend to be at. You kind of know where folks might tend to crouch because they think they're being super sneaky. And at all costs, don't be the first one to die. If for nothing else, this has been the most favorable for me. If we lose a round and my teammates I'm playing with, and they're like, oh, what the heck happened? Like, who died first? And like, haha, not me. And they're like, well, damn it, there's half our problem. So don't die. That should be like your whole goal for the elimination, especially do not die. All right, tip number two ties right in. Know your maps. Obviously, we have a couple of new maps coming back. We have the Cauldron, I think it's called like the Blue, and the Anomaly, or Blue Exodus maybe. Those are three maps, I don't know. Those are three maps from Destiny 1, and understandably, even for those of us that played a ton of Destiny 1, it's been a while since we played on those maps. And if you're new to Destiny 2, new to Destiny since Destiny 2, you've never played on those maps. So I would try it, if possible, in those couple of days, especially leading up to the first run of Trials of Osiris on Friday the 13th. You have from March 10th to the 13th. I would try and do some Crucible and try very hard to pay attention to those couple of new maps and really make sure to know, to learn what people are doing, look for spots where you can sit, and try to figure out ways to use that map to your advantage. But otherwise, in general, if you play Crucible, you just learn the sniper lanes. That plays hand in hand with not dying first. Like, I love using Revoker, for example. Like, most of my clips at the end are with Revoker. And I know where most snipers are going to tend to be at, and I will oftentimes try to challenge them, which plays into step number 3. If you lose a challenge or two, so for myself specifically, if I know a sniper lane, I look down there, get my head blown off, then the next time I revive, or the next round, I look down there, get my head blown off, I'm done trying to challenge that sniper, because they are clearly then just better than me, or they're getting there faster and they're hard scoping, whatever. I have already lost twice. There's no point in me giving them an extra third kill. Human ego would love to be like, oh, I'm going to get that bitch. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get some sweet, sweet, sweet revenge. And that's unfortunately not how it usually works. Occasionally it'll work out in your favor, but especially as you're getting up in those wins on trials, past 2 wins, like 2 overall wins on my card, I would probably not ever worry about challenging if someone has already beaten me. Which plays into step number 4. Use your health wisely. If you are a red bar, it can be super duper tempting to rush out and try and get that last guy who's left standing, because maybe it's a 1v1 situation. Or maybe you're a red bar and you're with teammates and like, oh, I want to pop my head out and I can get the kill. Just don't do it. Sit behind cover, drop a rift, do something just to make sure you stay alive. Because if you pop your head out, again, the whole goal of elimination is don't die. And an easy way to not die is if you know you're a red bar and you're low on health, unless you have no other option, which is because they rushed you, do not engage. Just do your best to stay behind cover and get your health back, drop a rift, put a barricade, dodge somewhere else, do something, and stay alive. Alright, I think now we're on tip number 5. Use your weapons you plan to use in whatever mode you're playing in. That includes in PvE. I have been fooling around with energy weapons as I have found I really like using Revoker. However, always using Revoker in Hardlight, or Revoker Not Forgotten, or Revoker and my Oracle below has actually gotten pretty boring, and I've only been playing about 10-ish hours or so of elimination. So I started messing around with other loadouts like the Monte Carlo, which is an exotic I wish I mentioned in my first video, which was about loadouts, weapons that you want to use. Monte Carlo might be getting a buff, we will have to find out, but it has some other cool stuff. I've been messing around with Bygones. I've been messing around, just a slew of stuff. Werewolf Braytech, that auto rifle, and some other things. So whatever weapons you're using, make sure you're comfortable with them. You don't do yourself or your teammates any good by being like, I've never used this gun before. Now I want to bust it out and use it in the competitive mode. You will tick off your teammates, especially if they are teammates that know they are most likely better than you. They're just helping you out because you're friends, or because you're like, hey guys, I swear I can hold my own. Well, you are going to have a much harder time holding your own if you are using guns in the Crucible for the first time. And I don't even mean just like the first time ever. I mean like the first time in a couple of weeks. Like, for example, one of these clips and the gameplay might have me using Inaugural Address. And I pulled out Inaugural Address. Like, you know what? This is a good pulse rifle. It could maybe be a nice option when I use something like Monte Carlo or something more short range in my primary slot. Inaugural Address could be a great option for me because for whatever reason, I can't find my beloved on my account. I really hope I didn't delete it, but that's probably what happened. So,
alright, I'm gonna go cry.
Anywho, so make sure you guys are playing with the weapons that you have. Tip number 6. Pay attention to your subclass. Pay attention to the TWABs because they're going to announce their little tweaks to different subclasses. I would totally suggest that you guys make sure you are in an active clan, and if you are, someone on there is probably going to be good at PvP and be up to date with all the new nerfs, buffs, all that good stuff. Or just keep up to date with my channel because at least for significant stuff, I will do my best to update you guys as things come out. Then finally, for my last tip before we get into strategies and lingo, would be to play against people that are better than you. You guys might be noticing in the gameplay, I'm probably getting my butt kicked, and you're like, what the heck? Why is this guy giving us any kinds of tips? Well, one way I try to get myself better and also out of laziness, is I solo queue into these elimination and comp playlists a lot. Partly because I'm too lazy to find groups, and PvP LFG groups tend to be rather toxic, but also because I know that, at least to some degree, skill-based matchmaking is a thing within Destiny 2 right now. So that means some games people are going to be better than me, some games people will be around the same, some games will have you worse, and other games the other team will be insanely better than me. So I can take huge advantage of this, like, Bungie, like, here you go, short playing me, here's people that are better than you, play against them, good luck. And I do my best to try and avoid bad habits, like popping my head out down sniper lanes unless I'm confident I can win, how I engage with targets, how I move around with random teammates, and I like to think that playing by myself makes me more aware of what's happening in the whole game, and if I can win and play with teammates I can't even talk to, because I can pay attention and be able to anticipate what they are going to be doing movement-wise, then I can surely do just fine when I have team members. And when I have queued in with a full fire team or even just one other teammate, I have found we have been winning more often than we lose, and I like to think, at least for my own personal development, mostly solo queuing has had a large part to play in getting better and being able to do all of that good stuff. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to try and make this nice and quick without shafting you guys, as I do appreciate that you have stuck out with this video so far. If you have, leave a mermaid emoticon down below, and I don't know, I'll definitely be sure to comment to your comments. Any hoozles. Alright, so for some lingo, and make sure you guys know, some common ones are absolute. Absolute just means the opponent is usually really low in health, probably red bar, and at the end of their red bar. One shot means they're probably literally one shot away from being killed. And push means rush, basically like a rushing play, like if you're familiar with football, just go forward and attack quickly and aggressively. And those are the common couple of terms I am used to hearing that are not necessarily specific to strategy. Now let's talk real quick a couple of strategy things that I have found people commonly use, especially in trials, that might just help you out just to be aware of and maybe to think about when you're doing your own playing, whether you're soloing in trials with random folks or you're just doing elimination or a comp for the heck of it. Okay, so we have flanking. Flanking would be something where you have like one or two teammates going one direction, perhaps on the inside or the outside of the map, which leads for me to remember, inside, outside of the map is also two common terms. Usually, each map will have an area that's more open, perhaps there's not much of a roof, it's more natural, there's more like sky showing, that kind of thing, and that area would usually be called outside. Inside would typically be the area that's the most covered in buildings, like you're maybe inside of a tunnel or there's like a roof and it's very entrapped, and a lot of people will say, hey, push outside, hey, go inside, or I'm going to flank outside. So that kind of stuff helps a lot. Okay, so flanking would be, you start off the match, they're like, hey, I want to go flank around on the edge. You guys go either inside or outside. I want to go the other way. So that would mean they're going to go all the way around at the beginning with the purpose of trying to sneak up from behind or the side. At that point, it is very, very important, especially if you're not the one flanking, that nobody dies. Because if the guy flanking by himself, because that's usually the common way of doing it, dies, it's immediately a 2v3 and his orb is pretty far away from the rest of you. If you die on the inside, it is a 2v3 and it's essentially 1v3 because one guy's by himself and the other guy is far off. So flanking can be a little bit risky, but you have to make sure no one dies. If executed correctly, flanking can cause a ton of chaos on the other team, really disrupt throws, and it can disrupt their flow, and it can make the other team feel like your team has 4 dudes. I've been in games where we were getting flanked, rushed all over, and we're like, holy cow, feels like we're playing against a team of 4 or 5 dudes. So that's what flanking is. Flanking's pretty common. All right. Pinching. Pinching is more of a in-the-moment kind of a thing. It'd be like you're engaged in a firefight. Someone perhaps sees, hey, I could run through this other door, go around the side a little bit, and get an angle. So it's kind of the same as flanking, but just a lot of like a smaller scale, and usually seems to be used as kind of like in the moment as opposed to planning, hey, at the very beginning, I'm going to run all the way around and flank them. So that's what pinching is. And those are the two most common strategies I have heard people using. And then finally, push. Pushing usually occurs the most when a team gets someone down quickly. So if your fire team drops someone on the other team, it's off the bat, and you have an immediate 3v2, it would be common for folks to expect that you would push up and try to take the numbers advantage and get rid of the last two dudes. And or you might have like any other scenario where it's like someone's absolute low on health, and it's like, hey, get them. You have more health. Like, push. We're going to push together. And so if someone says push and they run up by themselves and you didn't go with them, odds are they're going to get a little pissed and be like, what the hell, man? I said we're supposed to push. You're like, my bad. Because I've definitely been the guy saying my bad a couple of times. So I'm trying to spare you guys some of that embarrassment. Lastly, I would highly suggest you guys be cool with switching out your loadouts. I know I hop into maps for these games being like, hey, I want to use this loadout just to change things up, and it's just not working for me. So change out your loadout. Don't be afraid to change out your super. However, if your super is more than like a little bit charged, so I would say if you're 50% more charged on your super or more, wait until you use your super and then switch to your other super. But maybe get some advice from the people you're actually playing with. I just want you guys to not feel like you should load into a match and not switch your weapons around. Unless, of course, Trials of Osiris locks your loadout, and we will have to wait and see if that is the case. I believe that was the case with Destiny 1 because I've had friends saying I really hope they don't have lots of loadouts, and that's something I really hope we don't have to deal with, and we can change around our guns. Because I know I oftentimes will try using some fun, more like interesting loadouts, and only switch to something like Not Forgotten or something super meta when the other team is either kicking our butts or really pissing me off because they're using all the stuff. I'm like, gosh damn it, I could be doing that good too if I was using that kind of broken ass crap. And so then I throw on whatever it is and go with that. Alright guys, I really hope this video helped y'all out with just kind of understanding some of the ways I learned how to play competitive and the things I've been kind of figuring out over the years. And I really hope you guys are able to adopt some of it, use it yourself, maybe take on some of those strategies, and that the lingo is helpful. I imagine most of you guys know that lingo, but maybe there's some brand new people to Destiny that would be like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Thank you so much for telling me. Alright guys, enjoy the clips here at the end with the dramatic music. I am Church of Caboose. Have a great week and happy grinding, y'all.
Opponent left. They don't stand a chance. Go. remain. Don't let them catch their breath. Ha! You put a...